All right, good afternoon, good evening to you all, and welcome to the St. Louis 4 School Virtual College Fair. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight. We're glad to have all of our participants and attendees joining, and we hope this is a really informative session for you tonight. We've got some great schools represented here tonight to be able to share information about their different institutions. So a couple of reminders for you all as we get going. First, this is a 6x6 virtual college fair. So just a reminder that means we actually have 4 great schools here tonight, but typically we'll have 6 schools who have 6 minutes each to share about their institutions. Keep in mind that while there's a ton of great information they're going to share with you in these 6 minutes, they certainly can't fit it all in. This is just to kind of whet your appetite. And I definitely encourage you to visit if you can physically or to visit virtually, get on these schools' websites and continue to explore and do your research to complement the information that you hear tonight. You can ask questions at any point during this session by hitting the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You'll hit that question, put your response right in there, and some of our representatives tonight will respond back to you. They may also be dropping some information into the chat feature for you, might be contact information, or maybe it's a website or a URL. So feel free to capture that information, bookmark it, do what you need to do to grab that information. And then if you do have questions, drop them into the Q&A feature because the chat will only be one way. You can certainly sign up for more sessions tonight, and you'll do that back at the website where you originally registered. There's a ton of great sessions happening. And the recording for this session will be available for you to watch on demand later if you want to go back and grab more information. And you can go to strivescan.com/St. Louis 4 School to be able to get that information or that recording in about a week. I'm going to drop our presenting order in the chat here momentarily so that you know which schools are here tonight in the order that they'll be presenting. But I'd love to kick it off now to Peter from the University of South Carolina to be able to share some information with you about his school.
Thank you, Danielle. Welcome, everybody, and thank you guys for attending today. My name is Pierre Paul Bell. I work with the University of South Carolina, and I am the Missouri rep. I'm actually originally from Kansas City, Missouri, so I do also have ties to the lovely area of St. Louis. So just a quick overview about the University of South Carolina. We are located in Columbia, which is the capital city of the state. By being in a metropolitan area, it gives our students the opportunities to have internships and co-ops within their very own backyard. Also, right by the university, we do have 2 different art and entertainment districts. One is called the Vista, and the other one is called 5 Points, and both are in walking distance of the university. Being that where we're located, there's many opportunities for outdoor recreation. By our baseball stadium is the Congaree River that has our very own Riverwalk, and students can actually rent equipment from our Student Blatt Center, which is one of our recreation centers, and rent canoes, rafts, tubes to do a float trip for students on the weekends. And then, of course, when it comes to the beach, we're only 2 hours away and then 2 hours away from the mountains. Now, when it comes to our academics, we are a Tier 1 research institution. Freshmen, when they soon get on campus, they are able to start their very own research project or work with our faculty members on our campus to kind of get a better understanding of how research works. We have over 56 nationally ranked programs. Not going to go in detail of every single program, but some of our most notable programs. We do have the #1 international business program in the nation, as well as the #1 public honors college in the nation, and actually the #1 public freshman first year experience through U101. Now, our student faculty ratio is 17:1, but that's not going to give you a clear picture on what your class size will look like. When it comes to classes, you will have some courses being taught in some of the big lecture halls that could reach up to 200 students, mainly our General Carolina core classes. But then when it comes to your degree program, you start seeing those class sizes shrink. On average, about 85% of courses taught at USC are taught with 50 students or less. And then students do have the unique opportunity to select over 300 different degree options. Now, when it comes to the over diversity of the university, we are the state flagship of the state of South Carolina. So you can see majority of our student population coming from the great state of South Carolina and 44% out of state. But all 50 states are well represented here at the University of South Carolina and over 100 countries as well. Now, here kind of gives you an outlook of our freshman profile. Please note this is from a previous class. Each class, they do compete against themselves when it comes for admissions. This year's class, we were test optional. At this point in time, the university has not decided if we will continue to be test optional for the fall 2022 class. So definitely make sure you join our mailing list so that you can be updated on what our admissions requirements will be like. Now, when it comes to our deadlines, the most important deadline to remember for our students is going to be December 1st, which is our regular application deadline. As long as the student applies by December 1st, you'll be in consideration for admissions as well as merit scholarships. There's no separate application for merit scholarships. October 15th is our early action application deadline. Please note that is non-binding. Students who apply under early action, they will receive their admissions notification mid-December before we leave for break. If a student is looking to apply for the Honors College, that application is due November 15th. Mid-February is when you'll be notified about your admissions decision. And I know that's a lot of information in just a short amount of time, but definitely feel free to contact me anytime. I will be putting my information on the chat later. To find more information about the University of South Carolina, definitely go to our website, which is sc.edu/admissions. If you have any questions and want to chat with a current student, we do have live chat available for students Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. And definitely, if you're able to come visit our campus, we do have in-person tours available. But if you're not able to come to campus, we do have virtual tours available for students as well as virtual academic sessions. And then also feel free to follow us on our social media accounts on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at U of SC Admissions. And I will be dropping in my contact information since I am your admissions counselor. So feel free to call me or email me anytime you guys have any questions. And thank you guys for allowing me to attend tonight.
Thank you so much, Peter, for sharing some great information. And so at this point, we're going to go over to Sammy from High Point University to be able to present next.
Thank you so much. Good evening, St. Louis. I hope everybody's doing great tonight, and I hope that you're ready to be extraordinary. So, as Danielle said, my name is Sammy Smith. I'm your High Point University admissions counselor. So I have the pleasure of working with students from Missouri and also all over the Midwest. High Point University, we are located in central North Carolina in the small city of High Point. We're situated about just in the center of the state, an hour north of Charlotte, about 2.5 hours from the mountains, and about 3 hours from the coast. We are open for visitors. We've been fortunate to open in August for in-person experiences for our students, but also we welcome you to come see us in person. So here at High Point, this is our mission. We are providing every student the opportunity to have an extraordinary education in an environment where they are inspired and surrounded by caring people. You may hear we get the reputation of being compared to Disney, and I think it's not just because it's beautiful here, but it's more the people, the environment. So if you're looking for an environment where it's a small community where you're supported by your peers and your professors, High Point's the best place for you. Here at High Point, we have a very unique academic model, and this is our unique approach to our educational experience. I'm going to highlight each of these 4 pillars, but simply put, we strive for academic excellence, experiential learning in every major, a 4-year development of life skills, and modeling values and building character. So our first pillar here, the academic excellence, this is the academic environment that you'll have here at High Point. So our ratio is 15-to-1 student faculty. All of your classes are taught by your High Point professors. Our average class size is about 17 students, with the largest class being the first year present seminar with our High Point president, Dr. Nito Cobain, where he actually instills in you that introductory to those life skills that we'll get to in just a minute. We also provide our students a 4-year graduation guarantee. So if you take the tools that we put in place for you, you are guaranteed to graduate in 4 years. We're also offering our students a 5th-year tuition-free master's program. It's a 1-year program in business and communication leadership. We also have a unique program called Success Coaches, where these are life coach and academic advisors here for your first year at High Point to make sure that you are prepared and ready to succeed all 4 years, both in the classroom and outside the classroom. Listed on this slide are the top 10 most popular freshman majors of our last year's class. You'll notice at the top of the list is undecided. So if you don't know what you want to study when you come to college, that's perfectly fine. We have a fantastic program called Project Discovery that helps you find your path. You'll also notice that business, our natural sciences, we have a fantastic interior design program because, fun fact, High Point is the furniture capital of the world. And then also some additional social sciences. Again, these are the most popular majors. Our second pillar at High Point is that experiential learning in every major. So 25% of the time in every class, you're going to get hands-on experience in what you're learning. This can be in labs like the one you see here. This is one of our broadcast journalism labs on campus, but it can also be through mentorship. So we have an access to these amazing leaders in our industries. Pictured here is Mr. Byron Pitts. He's the co-anchor of ABC's Nightline, and he actually comes to campus. Even in a COVID world, he came virtually to mentor and work with our students in those programs. And we have leaders across all areas of discipline. Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, he works with students in computer science. Mark Randolph, the co-founder of Netflix, he works with our students studying entrepreneurship. You also have the access to an internship guarantee program here at High Point. So every student has the opportunity to get an internship, not just one, but multiple throughout their time here at High Point. Again, come see these faces in person. Our third pillar, and this is what really makes High Point stand out, is that implementation of the life skills. So pictured here is our 1924 Prime 5-star steakhouse restaurant. This is one of our unique learning labs on campus where you actually get the opportunity to not only have a 3-course steak meal once a week in your meal plan, but you can also learn that fine dining etiquette, because you may find yourself in an interview one day where you're actually having that interview over a meal, or maybe you just want to impress your future in-laws. But again, you have this opportunity to get that etiquette training right here on campus. Our fourth pillar is we want to instill in our students the character development, that growth mindset. So we're not just going to make sure that you're the best in your career, but we want to make sure that you're a good person. And what does the world need more of? Good people. On average, our students are completing over 110,000 community service hours each year. One of my favorite programs is the freshman book program, where our students, every freshman coming into High Point, we ask them to bring their favorite childhood book, and then we donate it to a local student in the area. Again, that is just a part of who we are. So if this rings true to you, then High Point is a great place for you. Also, what about the fun stuff? So we are that D1 athletic school. Some of our popular sports are lacrosse, volleyball, basketball. So if that is something that you're interested in pursuing, definitely reach out. If maybe you don't want to pursue sports on a D1 level, we also have fantastic club and intramural sports. In addition to the athletes, we also have over 200 student organizations and campus organizations for you to choose from. We have Greek life on campus, as well as a variety of different religious groups on campus. All right, and so I know that's a lot of information, so let's stay in touch. I'm sorry I ran out of time tonight, but I am your admissions counselor. So if you have any questions about the application process, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, Danielle. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Sammy. Some great information. And don't forget, for our participants, you can check the chat for some contact information. I know that Peter dropped his. Sammy, feel free to drop yours into the chat as well. So next up, we're going over to Kevin at Elon University, and I'll turn it over to you.
Danielle, I don't think I can start my video yet.
Oh, you're not able to move forward into your slide. I can hear you and I can see your Elon University welcome slide.
Yeah, the video, just my video won't allow me to start.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Let's see.
There we go.
There you go. Awesome.
Thanks, Danielle.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. So glad to be with you today. My name is Kevin Knapp, and I serve at Elon University in North Carolina. I've been at Elon now for 7 years, and of those 7, I've worked with St. Louis students for about 6 of those. Really enjoy my time when in a non-pandemic year, I get to be out with you all in your high schools and not in this virtual space, and hopefully we can get back to that point at some time. So let's dive right in. I know we're limited on time. So first and foremost is, progress here, is our locations. We are located in between kind of the Greensboro area and the Raleigh-Durham area. This is a great location, not only for internships and student experiences, but also it's a great way to explore more of the state. So our students love getting out to the mountains and the coast and not too far away from either one. Looking at our student body, Elon is home to, as you can see, just over 6,200 undergraduate students. And of those 6,291, about 80% do come from outside the state of North Carolina, which leaves still about 20% for our in-state residents. We also are representing about 47 different US states and close to 50 or so different countries. And then 19% of our student body self-identify as being from a racially or ethnically diverse background. So it's a little bit about our student body. I think what you'll find here at Elon is that it is easy to make connections. We're a medium-sized school, but in so many ways, I think we feel like and have the heart and really, I think the kind of the tempo of a small school from a personal perspective. You're gonna have a lot of experiences both inside the classroom and outside the classroom where you're gonna get a lot of personal one-on-one attention. And that's really, really an important facet of the Elon experience. So let's look at a few more numbers. The first is we have 4 undergraduate schools: our School of Business, our School of Communications, our School of Education, and then our College of Arts and Sciences. Within those 4 schools, we have about 60 or so different majors, and really the 5th school is our Health Sciences with our brand new nursing program. So we're really excited about all those programs. It's very easy to change your major here at Elon, and whatever you put on your application, by and large, we're really not going to hold you to that. We really appreciate and support academic flexibility and creativity, allowing you all to change your major, double major, add minors, and there's going to be, again, a lot of support in that process. 12-to-1 is our student to faculty ratio, with our average class size being about 20 students. And while 20 is the average, we actually put a cap on all of our classes at 33. So you'll never have a class freshman year all the way through senior year with more than 33 in that classroom. Again, it's really intentional. Faculty want to get to know you, and hopefully the reverse is true as well, where you're going to know your peers in your classroom as well as that faculty member who's going to invest in you in a real and meaningful way. All right, so also kind of related to our academic experience is what we call the 5 Elon experiences. So here at Elon, all of our students, all 6,200 students plus, will complete at least 2 out of these 5. These are required, they're built in, but we use the word required in a very positive way. Students or family members with us, we want you to enjoy these experiences. We want you to add them to your resume, talk about them in job interviews, but most importantly, develop as a person through these experiences. So when it comes to study abroad, about 80% of our student body will study abroad at some point during their time here. Almost 90% complete an internship, about 25% in research. And these experiences, again, really round out your time. We have support offices with faculty or staff in all 5 of these areas who will sit down with you and help you figure out how do these fit within your 4-year plan. Many of our students will do all of these. It's not uncommon. So again, we don't just cap that just at 2. So if you have questions about these 5 experiences, I would love to talk to you more about them and how they impact your time here and really help to create future success for you as a student down the road. All right, so outside the classroom, there's also a whole lot happening at Elon, I promise. We have 284 different clubs and organizations. This is everything from Greek life to club sports, to getting involved in student government, to volunteering in our local area, to clubs or organizations based on your major. Our students are not bored. Very active student life. Some of that comes from students that are, again, coming from all over the US, all over the world. And we want to create a campus that is vibrant, that is alive, that has activities, things for you to do on the weekends, and that is absolutely the case here at Elon. We offer 17 Division I varsity teams for men and women. Elon competes in the Colonial Athletic Association, the CAA. So these are great games to attend as a fan. So you want to go to a football game, basketball game, etc. We also offer both intramural sports and club sports. So club sports still play kind of a local schedule. So many ways to stay competitive as a student athlete or to attend some great games as a fan. From the dining perspective, we have 15 different dining options for you here on campus, and our food is excellent. I don't say that lightly. So you'll be well taken care of, well fed, plenty of also dietary accommodations. So in all of our dining halls and facilities, you can find menus that are catered towards what you need, helping you succeed as an entire person. All right, so just about a minute or so left. So as I wrap up here, I want to let you know my contact information here. I am the rep for Missouri and for the St. Louis area. So again, I hope to see many of you either in your area this next fall. Elon is also open for visitors. We've actually been having campus visits in small capacity since last June. So we're coming up on a year of that. I've met some St. Louis students already this spring, and I hope to see even more of you on campus with us either this summer, this fall, or next spring. So I think that about wraps up my time. So I'm going to turn it back over to Danielle.
Thank you very much, Kevin. We appreciate you presenting it again. Feel free to drop your info in the chat, and I think there might be a question for somebody out there as well. And last but certainly not least on the panel tonight, I'm going to turn it over to Susan from Wake Forest University.
Thank you, Danielle. Well, I'm very happy to be here this evening. I do miss not being in St. Louis. I've been reading applications and visiting schools for 7 years now, having been at Wake Forest for over 30. But I'm very, very excited to be here this evening to tell you a little bit more about Wake Forest. I should let you know the campus is opening on May 1st for visitors to arrive and take a self-guided tour. So I invite you all to come and visit if it fits into your summer plans. Wake Forest is a medium-sized liberal arts private institution. It's located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You've heard of other schools that are kind of in the same particular area of North Carolina. We're not very far from the mountains. We're a little bit further from the coast. We're about 4 hours from the beach, but we're north of Charlotte and just a little bit east of Greensboro. Our undergraduate population is just under 5,500 students. And that's our main mission, is looking at and helping and working with undergraduates. We do have our own law school, business school, divinity school, medical school, and graduate school of arts and sciences. But the good news for undergraduates is that you have the same resources that graduate students have. You have the same faculty and you have the same labs and equipment and library access. Wake Forest is every year, as we read applications, we're building our community, and our community, we want it to reflect what the world looks like. And so we always are looking to make sure that our community is ethnically and racially diverse in terms of backgrounds, as well as we have international population, and we try to have all 50 states represented as well. The city of Winston-Salem is about 250,000 people, so there's always things to do. Campus is about 10 minutes by car from downtown. And whether it's food or art or technology or sports, there's always something to do. So students are always going into town to do activities, but also to do internships, as well as also to do service and to help with maybe a third grader in fine-tuning their math, or maybe even helping with distributing of food throughout the city. So as I mentioned, we're a liberal arts institution, which means that whether you apply knowing that you want to be in a particular area, or if you're undeclared, when you get to Wake Forest and you're admitted into the college, you have lots of opportunities to try out other areas and other things. And it might be that anthropology class that really kind of gravitates and becomes a minor. So you are able to double major, maybe even major and triple minor. You can put things together however you like. So from day one, you start trying out the classes. By the end of your sophomore year, you declare as to what kind of direction and what majors and minors you want to continue to pursue in the last 2 years while you're here. So We have, of course, a 1 to 11 faculty to student ratio. Our classes are capped at around 20 as well. You might find yourself in a classroom very similar to these, where you get to know your professor and your professor gets to know you. And you'll, of course, see the professor at theater productions and the cafeterias and that sort of thing around campus as well. So every conversation is a building of a relationship at Wake Forest. We started about 4 or 5 years ago, a downtown campus, and it is dedicated to engineering and to biochemistry and molecular biology. So students in their freshman year can try out those classes. But if you actually declare in those areas, you would then be spending some of your time downtown in one of these buildings. You would still live on the main campus as well, though. So there's a lot to do. It's a very vibrant campus. It's an intellectual community. The arts are very important. You could try, for instance, out for an audition for a theater production. You don't have to be in theater in order to be in a play. So there are no kind of boundaries or rules at Wake. You get to try things out and see if they fit you. So if you're great at theater and you want to keep doing it, fantastic. But if you want to give it a try, this is the perfect place. One of the things that I know that interests students to Wake Forest is, of course, the academic rigor. But the other thing is that our community is unique in that our motto is pro humanitate, for humankind. So students who are very similar to yourselves, interested in doing service, starting clubs, being leaders of organizations and doing things within your community are students who are interested in Wake Forest. And you have lots of opportunities to continue that sort of service locally, within the United States and even internationally. We do have a 3-year residency requirement and half of the students as seniors remain on campus. I think this also goes to building the kind of unique community that we have. The 2 things that I'd like to highlight that we really want all students to take part in, and every student can, is the opportunity to study abroad. So even if you're pre-med and you think, oh, I can't leave campus, if I do, I'll get behind. That's not true at Wake Forest. So we have over 400 programs. You see some of the houses that Wake Forest has here that you can study abroad in. And the other is research, having an opportunity to do research from the very beginning when you arrive. We are a test optional school. We have been and will continue to be after this year. We've been since 2008. I invite you to come for a visit and I'll drop my information in the chat as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Susan, and thank you to all of our presenters for the great information you shared on all of your schools tonight. And I love when there's a diverse mix of schools here on these panels, because you all can share some great wisdom and advice to the students and folks on the call here this evening. So I'd invite our presenters to come on back with their videos if you can. And I've got a couple of questions for you that I think hopefully our students will tune into to hear your insight. So we'll go in the same order that we just presented. We'll start with Peter, then we'll go over to Sammy, up to Kevin, and I say up because you're up on my screen, but up to Kevin, and then over to Susan. And we'll just go round robin and you can take the cues from the person before you. But what advice would you give someone, would you give any of these students on the call here tonight as they're going through the college search process? Let's start with you, Peter.
Definitely figure out what your non-negotiables are going to be. And what I mean by that is you want to figure out what you are looking for in a college and then narrow that list down to say, like, if I'm going to attend this university, I need to have these top 3 things because it can help you narrow your list down. And then the second biggest thing is figure out who your admissions counselor is. And don't be afraid to ask them questions, because our job as an admissions counselor is to figure out if our university is the right fit for you or not. For some of you, it might be. And for others, we let you realize it's not. So definitely figure out your non-negotiables and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, and Peter, I completely agree. I'm going to piggyback on yours. Definitely, and reach out to us because being from St. Louis or Missouri, maybe you're not able to come all the way to visit campus. So use us so we can at least get you connected. That's one thing with COVID, right? We've all kind of gotten adapt with technology. So we can connect you with students. We can connect you with faculty. I know all the departments that, our choir would love to Zoom you in for practice, I mean, things like that. So just utilize us because we're your best resource to get to the experts and see if it is that good fit.
Our vice president loves to say that finding a college is a match to be made and not a prize to be won. And what I love about that is the fact that rankings certainly play their part. They can, absolutely. But if you're just chasing rankings, then you might not find the perfect fit for you as a student. And that's coming from a place that I am proud of Elon's rankings. But again, that doesn't always correlate to the perfect match and perfect fit for you. So be mindful of rankings, take them with a grain of salt, and find a place you can find and call home. Second thing is ask the right questions. And I would say, even on this call tonight, it's probably different schools that have different levels of competitiveness level when it comes to the application process. So feel free to find your admissions counselor, ask them how they review applications, what are the criteria that they're looking for. So ask questions, yes, but ask good in-depth questions about the process to help you figure out how to make your application stand out as best as possible. There's probably some institutions here that might pay a little bit more attention to certain areas than to others. And finding those distinctives, I think, is really important so that you can put your best foot forward when it comes to applying.
Well, I would just have to echo what my colleagues have said. Of course, please feel free to reach out to any of us. The best way to know about a place, an institution, besides coming and visiting and spending a little time, is to talk with perhaps some of your friends who are already enrolled, but to reach out and talk with your counselor, as well as the representative of the school. And we stand ready to help you in any way we can.
So thank you all for that, and certainly some themes in what you shared. And I think for our participants here, you've probably heard it before, but the only silly question, right, is the one you don't ask. This is a complicated process, but it's also a human one. And everybody here on the call and everybody that they represent is here to help you through that process. So really important to remember, and great insight from you all. Let's have a little fun. What's your favorite event or tradition on each of your campuses? I'm sure our students would love to envision themselves where you all are. So I'll send it back over to you, Peter.
So my very favorite tradition, it's called First Carolina. It's where all the incoming freshman students get together. There'll be a speech done by the president. You'll have a lot of the athletic coaches also talk to our students. It's usually held in the Horseshoe, which is where the original part of the university was established, or in William Bryce Stadium. And what the purpose of First Carolina is actually just to learn more about the different traditions and sporting events, especially if you guys seen this on all our football games as well as basketball games. We have a thing called Sandstorm, and then we'll use our rally towels and go to the beat of Sandstorm. So that's one of the biggest traditions you'll see in all of our student sections. And so students will learn how to do our cheers, our sayings, how to sing our alma mater song, and then how to properly dance to Sandstorm. So that's one of my very most favorite parts about our traditions at USC.
Awesome. My favorite event on campus is Movein Weekend. There's just the energy, right? Everyone's excited, want either to come back to campus or to arrive to campus. And what's really great at High Point, you're greeted by all of these upperclassmen. They're ready to cheer you on and welcome you with wide open arms. And also what's crazy is, but so cool, is that you don't even lift a finger. Our students take care of your luggage and your move and stuff. Like I'm not kidding. You'll blink and then all of a sudden it's in your room. So not only are you kind of just welcome, and you're treated like royalty almost a little bit. So it's just a really fun, high energy day. Everybody's really excited. You finally crossed the finish line and you're here on campus.
I think my favorite has to be something called college coffee. And this is actually a weekly tradition. So every Tuesday, starting at 9:40 to about 10:20, there are no classes. And so the Elon community, which is students, faculty, and staff, all come out for coffee, pastries, and a good chance to connect and chat and get to know one another. So you might see your professor out there. You might see our president, Dr. Book. You might see your roommate out there. And when the weather is nice, which is, we're grateful, it's a lot of the year for North Carolina. It's largely outside, and so great weather, great food, and great connections. So that's college coffee every Tuesday.
I think one of my favorite, and I think many of the students' favorites, is what we call Project Pumpkin. Most of the service sorts of things that have become popular and very traditional at Wake Forest are all student run. So it's kind of cool that the staff and the faculty come as well. But Project Pumpkin is where students begin planning at the beginning of the fall term for an event, kind of a carnival of sorts, where Wake Forest students dress, but also a lot of young children and preschool kids, and everybody comes to campus. And so it's nice when it's outside, and every Wake Forest student takes a young child and they walk around and they play these carnival games. And admissions has its own booth, and we have our own little thing where they have to pay, pull up a little duck and get a candy. And it's something that's wide across the whole campus, and we all participate. And that's the fun part.
It's always so exciting to hear everybody describe their schools, and what you all are describing is such great energy, right? And part of your campus culture. And so I challenge our students on the call tonight to think about, can you see yourself in some of these traditions and at some of these events, right? And this is why we say visit however you can, virtually, in person if you're able. Not everybody can, so in whatever way that you can, and can you envision yourself here? Because there's such great things that you all are describing happening on your campuses. All right, so we do have time for one last question, which is great. So kind of building off of that, tell me a little bit more about your campus. Let's see if you all can share like a fun fact, maybe something that these students might not know if they're just on the website. So we'll start back over with you, Peter.
Oh, that is a very good question. Let me try. Oh, one thing, it's a fun fact that it was actually helped built by our engineering students. By our library, we have an area called the clapping circle. A lot of people think it's a prank that we just pull on people to make them feel like they're just doing something ridiculous in public, but it actually does something. So the engineering students figured out, it's an old formula. If you put bricks in a specific way in the ground and you clap in the middle of that formation, the person who's clapping inside of that brick formation, they actually hear bird noises. But everybody around you cannot hear the bird noises. It's only the person who's standing in the middle of the brick formation. And it's just funny because during our tours, we'll take students there and they kind of think it is as an initiation, like, oh, they're really trying to see if I'll do anything for the university. But it's really just to show you, like, there's a cool and unique thing that our engineering students wanted to contribute to the university.
That's super cool. I bet everyone here that's new to them. So thanks for sharing, Peter. Over to you, Sam.
That's a hard one to follow. I'm not going to lie. Cool architecture. I would say, well, I kind of ruined it earlier by saying, High Point as a city is the furniture capital, but a lot of people don't know this. We're also the largest rug manufacturing city in the nation, behind India's the internationally the largest. But also more specific to campus, we have literally everywhere you go, you hear music, and then we have these really cool statues of influential people. But a fun little, it's not fun fact, but fun little tradition is that when it's raining, students will put ponchos on them, and they've really kind of become part of campus. And I always joke and I say the biggest thing you have to worry about walking around on campus at night is them coming to life. I can't tell you how many times Teddy Roosevelt has scared me in the corner of my eye. But that's kind of, fun about campus, but no bird clapping corners, sorry.
Or maybe ponchos and masks on some of these statues here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, over to you, Kevin.
For mine, it's actually the word Elon. So the word Elon is actually Hebrew for oak. And so around campus, you will see hundreds and hundreds of oak trees. And we even play that up into some of our first year kind of ceremonies. So every incoming first year student gets a tiny acorn, and then when they graduate, you actually get a oak sapling, which you'll take home with you. And it shows kind of the progression of your 4 years. They say that it takes 4 years for an acorn to become a sapling. I don't know if that's exactly true. That might be a little bit of a fib, but that's our tie and connection to the word oak.
That's awesome. I did not know that. Very cool. And last but not least, Susan.
Well, of course, in this part of North Carolina, the weather is beautiful and you have all 4 seasons, so students are out and about. But a couple of years ago, this is pre-pandemic, a couple of years ago, Wake Forest started putting some things outside so it would draw students out. So we have outdoor pianos, we have outdoor ping pong tables, and we have outdoor libraries that, of course, they pull inside when the weather is not so good. But students love being outside as much as possible, and so they have things to create community around, and I think that's very exciting.
Susan, I thought you were going to say outdoor chairs and tables. I wasn't expecting pianos and ping pong, but I think that's very cool. So thank you again. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think there's a fire pit or two, but you know, that's the
something a little more traditional. But again, it goes to the vibe, the energy, the experience of being at each one of your schools. And I thank you all for sharing this evening with all of our participants. So we are going to wrap up our time here. I'm going to just put a quick slide up here for our participants. If you heard something you liked, you heard traditions or events or information that really struck you, I do invite you to reach out through the contact information that was provided in the chat here tonight, but also to go to each one of these schools' websites to be able to get the contact information that you need to go ahead and register to visit or to learn more, because that's the whole point, is to share enough for you to be able to get a sense of, do you want to learn more? And then you go do your thing to continue on your journey. And we certainly wish you well, because I do know this is a complex process at times, but it can also be a fun one where hopefully you land at a place that you really fit and love down the road. So a couple of logistics here at the end of our virtual college fair and time together is that when you close out of your Zoom window in this session tonight, you're going to be invited to participate in a quick survey. I think it's 4 questions that you can give us a little bit of feedback on, because that's always helpful for those of us who are running these types of sessions. Again, you can sign up for more sessions, and you'll do that back at the link where you originally registered. A lot more different virtual fairs happening. And the recording will be available in about a week, so you can watch on demand if you want to go back and grab any information, or you just want to share with someone else. So you can go to strivescan.com/St. Louis for school to be able to grab this recording in about a week. Thank you for spending time with us tonight. I hope everybody stays well. Thank you. Have a great night. Take care, everyone.